change the vowel, right? Like give and gave. It's not gived, right? If we see ed, then we know for sure it's a verb, but not every verb uses ed. So sing, sang, give, gave. So it's a good guess. This could be the verb. And so what do we have here? Which one is the noun? We have an S. And remember, this is either a verb or a noun, probably. So if this is the noun, then what's that? And this becomes an adjective. It's not the only possible answer, but it's a good guess. If we understand how some of these relationships work, then even if we don't know the words, we can learn something about what the writer is saying. Now, if you can practice with something like this, then you can always learn. But if you can find your own text, things that you want to read anyway, then that's a better place to practice because it's your text. You want to read it, right? And if you want to read it, then you're going to ask these questions. So what word is that? And then you can think about your choices. If you just, keep the phone off, okay, yeah. If you look it up on the internet, or if you look it up on your phone, you're missing a chance to learn. Maybe you will get the answer right away, but so what? You'll forget it. It won't be any good to you. So this is a fun exercise. It's one that I had to do in school. It's a fun poem. Like I said, it's from Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know that story, you should watch them. They made some movies recently. You know, with Johnny Depp. What's his name in Chinese? Okay, it sounds kind of like the English, yeah. All right, so you should watch them. When we look at other texts, like say if you're reading a novel.
So this poetry doesn't have any meaning?
Not really. Some of them do. And there are some guesses about what some of the words could mean. If you watch the movie, they have characters for some of the words. Like the next part of this line talks about a bandersnatch. It's one of the monsters in the movie. So this is not a real monster. It's only in his writing. What is it? Well, some people guess this has to do with jumping, and this idea here is it grabs things. It's like this big cat with all of these teeth that, grab. It could be. But it's not a real word. So in the movie, they kind of have to guess or make up their own meanings for some of the words. But mostly, a lot of people think the simple answer is the writer was on drugs. And yeah, not everybody thinks that, but there are other examples of nonsense writing. You can look some of it up. But even if you don't go to that extreme, if there's just a story that you're reading, right, or if it's in one of your textbooks for your class, you can still look at some of the patterns, right? So nouns are easy to tell, often because they have an article, a or the, right? What else do we know about nouns? English has another special rule for a certain kind of or Bob. China University of Technology. But what do they have? What makes them different from other words? They start with a capital letter. In English, only the first letter of the sentence or proper nouns, names, can start with a capital letter. Right? So if you see a word with a capital letter in the middle of the sentence, then it has to be a noun. But be careful, remember that sometimes we can use an adjective to replace a noun. Not replace, but instead of. Like for example, the Chinese. It's just we leave out the word people. So, in this case, we have an adjective with a capital letter. Okay? So that is possible, but most of the time, it's fairly reliable. And in a sentence, this will act like a noun. So, what else can we say about nouns? It can tell you the amount of something. Okay. What do those words usually look like? Right. We have, apart from these, we have words that end with S or ES. Are there certain patterns where we can say, this is an adjective, and if we want to make a noun, then we add these letters? Okay, T-I-O-N. There's that, right? Or, what's the noun for happy? Happiness. Right? What else do we have? E-N-T. Sometimes, this is often an adjective, but what about this one? E-N-T is usually for adjectives. Some nouns, like student, have E-N-T. But whenever the adjective has E-N-T, patient, you know, not like the person, but to be patient, right? Then the noun, patience, right? So, there are a lot of others. Some of them can be more than one form. Some of them, like N-E-S-S, 一定是名词, right? Okay, what about verbs? We know that we can see the S or the ED. What's another thing that often comes with a verb? What about when we have two parts of a verb? Like, I am talking. Then we can have be. Right? We can have other auxiliary verbs, helping verbs. We have words that might come in front of them, like can or could, right? What else? have, yeah, a couple other forms we can have here. Some of them are. The German words, the German verbs are usually short. Go, eat, swim. Some of them are longer, especially from Latin, right? The other languages that came to English. But what if we have two verbs together? What usually goes between them? Well, that puts two sentences together. 我很想要回家。我要回家。I want to, right? Now, to doesn't always have to be a verb, right? Because to can also go with a noun, right? We go to school, but it's one of the choices. Whenever you have, there's one other thing for nouns, whenever there's a preposition, so that means in, on, you always have to have a noun. Okay? What else can we say about verbs? In a sentence, it's really important to find the verb we can put other forms like that together, but it's really important to find the verb because it tells you things like when, but it also has a relationship with which word? With the subject. The subject and the verb have a relationship. I eat, he eats, right? So, because of that, if you can find one of these, you should be able to find the other. They have a relationship so that we can understand complicated sentences, right? So, when we look for what kind of word it is, there's a lot of questions you can ask. And the thing is, even if you get it wrong to begin with, you have some place to start. You can keep asking, right? Sometimes sorting out a sentence is really just a puzzle. You guys know those